Top Med Talk.
Well, hello, I'm Desiree Chappell, and this is Top Med Talk. We're coming to you live from the American Association of Nurse Anesthetists 2019 Annual Congress in Chicago, Illinois. Now, AANA 2019 is a gathering of over 3,000 certified registered nurse anesthetists, or CRNAs, for the largest networking and educational event in nurse anesthesia. Now, this year, AANA has partnered with Top Med Talk to bring the meeting to our listeners. And over the course of 3 days, we've been sitting down with presenters, AANA leadership, and delegates to discuss hot topics in the CRNA community and anesthesia practice. Now, I'm joined by my co-host and editor-in-chief, Monty Mythen. Hello, Monty. How are you?
Hey, Desiree. Great to be here. Day 3. Did we finish today? Did we?
We do finish today.
Excellent. Wow,
thank goodness.
So, update on the culinary experiences in Chicago.
That's right.
We made it to Lou's last night.
Not Joe's. Lou's.
Lou Malnati.
Yeah.
I'm working on that.
What'd you think?
But there's more than one, it turns out.
There is.
We didn't make it back to the one that Sol Aronson had taken us to before, but it was nice. It was great.
It was wonderful.
So I'm afraid I'm a thin crust guy.
Thin crust.
Yeah, I tried both. I like the pizza pie thing's a food thing. It's nice, but it ain't pizza.
No, it is pizza.
It's not pizza.
Yeah, it is. It's Chicago pizza.
Okay, Chicago
It's
pizza.
fabulous.
All right, moving on. It was still wonderful food. If it wasn't a competition, I would have said, bring me that every day of the week. But head to head,
No, you wouldn't.
I'm thin
I did
crust.
that in Italy. You don't want to eat pizza every single day.
Okay. Well, back on planet Earth.
Yes, back on planet Earth. Well, we have had the opportunity to sit down and have some amazing conversations with CRNA members of our community, and some interesting topics on diversity and inclusion. We've
innovation.
Talked to innovation and inventors.
Guidelines.
We talked to some students. So really amazing, work that's being done by CRNAs within our community. And this morning we have an opportunity to sit down with another CRNA who's doing great things for our profession, Sharon Pearce. Hello, Sharon. How are you?
Nice to be here. Thank you, Desiree.
Yeah. So, Sharon, you are a CRNA in North Carolina.
I am.
But you also have been very involved within the AANA. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've done for our community?
Well, I have served at the state level. I've been president of the North Carolina Association of Nurse Anesthetists, and that was a lot of years ago. And I have served on the AANA Board of Directors. I was Region 2 Director, Vice President, President-elect, and I was National President from 14 to 15?
14 to 15.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Isn't that awful that I can't even remember what year I was president?
Time flies. It is. You have dedicated a lot of your life to this organization.
A lot of my life to this organization, and it was my honor to be president of all CRNAs in this country, because CRNAs are the smartest, most awesome people I know.
We're great, and I love our annual Congress. It's when everybody comes together and gets to celebrate our profession. I think is really cool.
This is my 28th annual Congress that I have attended.
Oh my gosh.
The only one I have missed since 1990 was the first year I got out of school.
So you took a day off high school to come?
That's it. That's it. Now, you know how to talk to the women. I can tell. You have the accent, and you know how to talk to the women.
Yeah, I know. I bring them along for a reason.
So for those of you who are listening, you won't be able to see this wonderful brooch, this CRNA Diamante brooch that we'll pick up in the photograph later on. What's the story behind that? It's spectacular.
Oh, well, thank you. I wear this pin everywhere that I go. Of course, a woman can never turn down bling.
I don't.
And I'm known for these. I started having them made years ago, and now you'll see them everywhere.
I've seen them in a few people.
Yes.
So I've tried to buy them, Sharon.
Well,
you can't get them anymore.
Oh, no, but I happen to have a source.
Okay, well, you need to let me know, because I've looked for them for a couple years now, because I wanted to give them as presents and get one for myself.
Yes, but besides that, I wear it because it is a great conversation starter.
It is.
But I tell people all the time, people think my name is Cerna. when they see this, I'll be in an airport, and inevitably some man will walk up and say, Cerna, that's a great name. But then it gives me the opportunity to educate them about who CRNAs are and what we do.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a good story.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Well, Sharon, not only have you been involved with our organization and doing all the work that you have done through the AANA, but recently you have also started a podcast.
I know. we're neophytes in this space, so we want you guys to give us words of wisdom because you are way light years ahead of us.
Well, it's just it's a tough road to hoe.
Oh, well, I'm feeling better. What about you, Jeremy?
We're figuring
I was
that
going
out.
to say, so introduce your colleague over here.
Absolutely. This is Jeremy Stanley, and he's my co-host on our podcast. And Jeremy, I'll let you tell about our history together.
Wow, Sharon and I have known each other for 23 years now,
Yes.
I think. So my background is I am a certified financial planner. Own a firm called CRNA Financial Planning, where we do financial planning and tax planning for CRNAs. Been doing that for 23 years, which is when I met Sharon, and I think you were a neophyte in the industry then.
Well, that's the story we're going to stick to anyway.
Just a baby.
I was a baby as well. How about that? So, but we met a long time ago, and we developed a friendship over the years. And one day we're at a meeting, and Sharon and I were talking about ideas and things that we could do along the way for the CRNA community. And Sharon goes, I've been listening to this podcast. These things are great. This is how these millennials, and I'm talking like Sharon right now. These millennials, this is the way they learn.
All right now. Monty has the accent. I don't.
Thank you.
Sharon always says she's on speed 33.
Yeah.
So our editor that does our podcast is like, let me turn her up just a little.
Speed her up.
But yeah, she came up with this idea, and we just kind of developed this thing out, and it's turned into a bigger endeavor, I think, than we ever thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. He did
you
all
guys
the
well know.
baseline work to begin with.
Yeah,
It's a great title.
Yeah, so what is the title of the...
Beyond the Mask.
Yeah.
Actually,
So-
a friend of ours, another CRNA, was standing there who's super creative, Deb Flaherty from North Carolina, and usually we give her wine to get creative, and she just starts reeling out the ideas, and she's the one who thought of our name.
Oh, yeah.
Beyond the Mask.
Beyond
the Mask.
Beyond the Mask.
Beyond the Mask. I like that.
And you can find it.
voiceover
You
here
can find
is
it in
great.
all the usual podcast places.
Yes.
You can find it, so
Yes.
people get into their podcatcher and put Beyond the Mask. They'll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, considering Jeremy's in the financial aspect, and he brings a lot to the table, and we talk about how to deal with your taxes. He's written a book called The Wealthy CRNA.
Oh, wow.
And so we do
Another great title.
Yes. Yes.
I need that book.
Well, you won't get wealthy with podcasting. I believe we all
Man,
know
sister.
about that. But so, we enjoy your podcast because it's clinically oriented, and the space that we're in is a lot different. We also talk about the history of our organization, and with me being a past president, we talk. We taped yesterday a lot of the past presidents of our association because we all stand on the shoulders of the giants who came before us, and we drink water from wells we did not dig. So we had a lot of the podcast yesterday talking with presidents and what happened during their year.
Oh, okay.
So we do a
really
lot of
interesting.
historical
Yeah.
perspectives
That's
in
great.
that way. Because other people have got a lot of the clinical stuff taken care of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fascinating, especially for new CRNAs coming out to maintain that oral history of our organization and not, a lot of information can be out there digitally and may not always be factually correct.
Right.
And
Right.
to hear it from the mouths of the people that lived through it, I think is really
And
Yeah,
that's
really
exactly
important.
what
And preserving
we've been
that.
doing. And Helen
Yeah.
Lamb was one of our founders of our organization with our educational process. And the people that we interviewed actually knew her.
Oh my gosh. That
How
is
inc-
crazy.
how
And we heard all
incredible.
kinds of stories.
Yes,
I'm
we did.
sure.
mean, it was
About her
amazing.
as a person,
Yeah.
which was pretty cool.
Gosh, that is very, very cool.
It's somebody I want to be because she was
Yeah.
married 3 times and 2 of them were multimillionaires.
And the last one, when she was in her 80s, was 25.
years younger than her. Absolutely.
Oh, I thought he was 25 years old.
Well, I like that better.
Either way, it sounds good. At 80 years old, I'll take either one of them.
She had someone to take care of her, right?
There you go.
That's great.
Oh, my gosh, that is really great. Well, I applaud you guys for the work that you're doing. We know how difficult it is to organize and get it all together and get it all to fruition because, there's a lot behind the scenes that goes on. So
yes, there definitely is.
And a niche thing like this, I would imagine, it does take a lot of work. But
I'm just a human Rolodex. That's why. That's why.
I got one of those
he's like, that's really nice. Nice little.
We want to talk to so and so. Let me call him up. No.
Yeah, and Sharon just tells me to have everything ready when she shows up. So that's kind of my job.
Most people are happy to talk, but they're less comfortable in front of a camera.
You are exactly right.
And we find most people are intimidated until they do it one time.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, this is kind of cool.
It's fun.
We're just having a
it is
chat.
fun.
Yeah, we're just sitting around chatting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I always say. One of the reasons why I got involved and really, really have bin excited about it is that, you go to these conferences, and Sharon, you know this. I mean, we all know this. We go to these conferences, we meet people, and we're like, I just had this most amazing conversation with Sharon Pearce, and I wish the world could have heard it.
Right.
I mean,
Good
honestly,
point.
like I walked away from conversations with Monty. I'm like, I asked some, pointed questions, and it's like, I wish everybody could have heard that.
Exactly.
So let's do it.
You guys obviously knew this, but this is the way kids today consume content.
Absolutely.
I say kids. My kids are 32, and 33.
They'll always be kids.
Yeah, they're big
babies.
kids. Yeah, but I watch them, and one of my daughters is an attorney, and she listens to podcasts as soon as she gets up. She's putting her makeup on, and that's what she does, and that's kind of where this idea was born from.
What I've been most surprised about, though, is that being in the exhibit halls and just talking to people in my travels, for a long time I'm like, it's just the millennials, pretty much. They're listening to podcasts. There are people from all generations that are really within probably the last year. It is taking off, and everybody is listening in their car to work. I mean, a lot of providers. Right. No matter what their age is.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, I know. My mom, honestly, mom and dad. And you find some content that you like and you just kind of get into it, and people love listening. It's like audiobooks because a lot of, some of the older generations.
All right now.
Well, I know. I don't want to say I just older than millennials. I'm in that too. Everybody listens to audiobooks kind of taking off. And so this is kind of taking the place of that. And, a lot of people started out on Audible on their phone, and now they got into podcasts, no matter what their age is. So that's what I always tell, some people that come up like, I can't listen to it. I'm like, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And it's like sitting at a table, just having a conversation.
Yeah. So it's great. Well, I applaud both of you guys for all the work that you're doing within the CRNA community. I think it's huge, again, to preserve the oral history of our organization and, be support and resource for everyone in our profession.
And Jeremy, if they want to find you, I know they can find you via the podcast route, which is, but where else would they find you?
The name of our company is CRNA Financial Planning, and that's www.crnafinancialplanning.com.
Excellent.
What he didn't tell you is he's married to a CRNA.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's great. So that's that. Were you married before you started your company?
No.
Really?
No. Not to this one.
No.
He was taking a page from Helen Lamb.
There you go.
This is number two wife.
number two wife. So I have an 18-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
Oh, bless you.
So, yeah. What about you, Monty?
Me? You mean children or
marriages?
Wives, marriages.
We love you, Kate.
I have 4 children with my first wife, and I'm still with her at the moment, I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You didn't make her mad this morning or anything, right?
Well, I'll find out.
I guess you'll find out when you go home.
I see it was going well yesterday.
Oh, good.
Now, can I ask a question? Because I assume you are from across the pond.
I am. I used to work in
Monty.
North Carolina.
Did you really?
I used to live. Dookie,
Duke. I live in Garner now.
Oh,
so
I lived to Triangle for a few years.
This is kind of interesting because you guys in England do not use nurse anesthetists.
Well,
anesthetists.
Historically we haven't, but that's all just changed.
Oh, please tell us. I think
under the broad category of non-physician anesthesia provider, it's the most rapid growth market now. So how that will manifest itself? Well, we all know reasons. There's no good reason for that not to happen, but also there's a massive shortfall for providers right across the board at the moment in the world that we work in. So we all got massive shortfalls in numbers.
We've just been talking to people here in the U.S. and abroad. But one of the things that I think is really interesting, though, in the U.K. that Monty was bringing up when I was asking about, nurse anesthetists, he's like, we're really hesitant to start pulling from our nursing pool.
Exactly.
Because they're so short on nurses.
Yes.
Well, you'll also take the best of the best.
Yeah.
But we're attracting a lot more into the sort of non-physician, non-nursing recruits from science graduates. So that's a big boom area.
Yeah. So getting nurses, I think, is the biggest thing, and not.
We need our best critical care nurses to stay doing critical care. They're very welcome, but we really want them to because we don't have enough there either.
So you're saying other science professionals. Define that for me.
In other words, other science graduates are being trained up to become anesthesia providers.
Science like healthcare science?
No, well, you do a science, do biology degree, for example, and then you train up like you would train up to be a nurse or a doctor. You train up to be a
anesthesia
practitioner. And across the board, other practitioners as well.
It's analogous to our anesthesia assistants.
I think that may be what it's close to.
AAs.
Yeah.
So in other words, you can have a degree in biology and train to give anesthesia without the nursing
there's
background.
a lot of training required. It's not it's not a light touch. But we're just very nervous about draining our nursing pool. There's nothing to stop the nurses coming across. They're very, very welcome, but we also need them to stay doing what they're doing too, because they're short. We've got shortfall in numbers everywhere.
So if I want to be even though it's not a CRNA, called a CRNA.
We have CRNAs working with us.
You do have
you can work over there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I've talked to him. I'm
thinking I might just hop on a plane.
I've had a lot of people ask me, and he's like, you come on over. We can make it work.
We don't pay anything, but it's like inverse wealth management.
Oh.
Inverse wealth.
So it wouldn't be a wealthy CRNA or physician for that matter. Well, guys, we have to move on to our next one, and I'm sure you all do too.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate, again, all the work that you're doing. And hope to see you again soon.
Absolutely, and thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cheers.
Top Med Talk.
Nick Majerison here. Thanks for listening to Top Med Talk. Now, before we let you go, it's important that we remind you to subscribe to Top Med Talk. That way you'll never, ever miss another episode. Also, if we could encourage you to join us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, pretty much every single social media platform, we're there. Join us. And finally, check out topmedtalk.com. If you go to our website, you can subscribe to email updates. That way we can always tell you where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing, and how you can join us. topmedtalk.com and click on the section marked email updates. Finally, Top Med Talk is proud to act as the broadcasting arm of EBPOM, Evidence-Based Perioperative Medicine. We'd love you to find out more about them as well. ebpom.org is their website. That's ebpom.org. And if you go to ebpom.org/meetings, you can find out about some of the wonderful meetings that we attend and cover across the year here on Top Med Talk. That's ebpom.org/meetings.